Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my kind of personal practice with kind of like self-inquiry and kind of not policing my thoughts, but questioning my thoughts. And that probably sounds like quite a strange thing to say, but since I realized my true nature, I realized that a lot of my thinking before, but for my whole life, was kind of based on habits and repetitive little patterns. And, for the most part, they were absolute nonsense. And for the most part, they were upsetting. And for the most part, they were actually taking me down a road that I didn't want to go to. Um, so, something that I've been really kind of trying to be mindful of is questioning my own thoughts. Now, I'm not going to say that since realizing my true nature, I'm in this nirvana state, I'm never having intrusive thoughts and everything. I mean, does that happen? If it does, if that has happened for some people, then I'm glad for you. I still very much have a human mind, and that human mind has kind of been trained into strange little habits, strange little patterns and ways of thinking. And they're always based on the past. So, for instance, I'm looking at now, a picture of me and my mum at my cousin's wedding. I do not just see a picture of me and my mum smiling. I see a picture at my cousin's wedding. Okay, where did that wedding take place? Oh, they're divorced now. Most weddings end in divorce. Blah, blah, blah. And I start linking all of these wild, some kind of related, but some on a tangent thoughts just to me looking at this photograph. And all this photograph is of two people that love each other, smiling, looking happy. But my mind then wants to really, really link it to everything that I can do, like a computer. And I think that's how all of our minds work. We work from past experience all the time. So every time we look at something, we throw the meaning on that of every encounter we've had with that in the past. And by doing that, yeah, there's some benefits sometimes because I'm sure when we were living in the jungle, we needed to remember last time I ate that fruit, I got really sick. Or do you know what I mean? Things like that. I can understand evolutionary wise how that's come about, but actually, how our minds are using it now in this day and age and in this society, I think is responsible for the majority of our overthinking, the majority of our doing other people's thinking for them, anxiety. So I know that was quite a non-offensive example of it, but I noticed that I do that with everything. And so everything I was seeing, I was casting my mind back and I was thinking, what does this thing mean? What does this house mean? What does this car mean? What does this person mean? So all of my past kind of encounters with that thing all flying up all the time, then taking me off on wild tangents about divorce rates when I'm looking at a photo of two people smiling, looking happy. Do you know what I mean? So part of my kind of personal practice has been trying to catch myself when I start doing that strange analytical computer mind thing. And the reason for that being is because I'm now enjoying periods of time when my mind doesn't do that. So I know that there's a different way to be. I know that there's another way to be, and I know that that other way to be feels better. Why would I not want that? This is not like I'm policing my thoughts just to be strict with myself. This is not like me kind of holding myself to a standard. This is me chasing my own joy, my own bliss, my own peace. Okay, so since self-realization, yeah, my thinking changed, my outlook on everything changed, but I realized that more and more I was kind of taking things for what they were. I wasn't attaching a narrative to everything I looked at. I wasn't attaching a story. Everything didn't have to have 12,000 meanings. Things could just be a bunch of flowers on the table. I then didn't have to analyze where I got the flowers from, where I got the flowers from the other time, who gave the flowers, what do I think about the person who gave the flowers. Do you know, like all of this like mad computer thought thinking that we tend to do. So the way I did it was to catch myself in the act of it, because you'll run down the list so easily before you even realize that you've done it. You've got 20,000 associations to this one very simple item that you're looking at, and it doesn't bring peace. It doesn't bring peace to the mind. It's forcing the mind to be like a machine. And you know what? In these other times that I'm experiencing this really quietened mind, God, I just feel peaceful. I'm in the. It's so much more easy for me to be in the moment because I'm not throwing my mind back the way to all of these different, random but slightly connected, things that could kind of make me some kind of narrative to the thing that I'm looking at. So it's one of my practices now to try and keep myself mindful of when my mind starts to do that thing, when I look at something it wants to instantly jump to the past and start telling me the entire story of that object, and then other stories that are attached to the story of that object, and then what that object could possibly mean in the wider scale. Oh, that's a car. Oh, that's a BMW. Okay, rich people drive BMWs. If you drive BMW, you're better than a person who drives Ford. If you drive, that's what the human mind tends to do. That's kind of, we've been trained by it. Society encourages us to do that. But I realised that there was a more peaceful and a more joyful way of being, and it didn't involve acting like a computer. It didn't involve acting like a computer at all. And it's so funny because a society would say, if you've got kind of like a blank, non-analytical mind like that you're a bit simple, perhaps, or that you're a bit don't know, that you're not sharp, you're not on the ball. But actually, is the cost of what society calls being sharp and on the ball this constant low-level anxiety we have, this constant like computer analytics running? Because in the times that my mind isn't doing that, I've never felt better. So it would make perfect sense to me to chase what feels good rather than what doesn't feel good. So that is one of the practices that I'm working on at the minute, catching myself. When I look at something, anything, I look out the window, I assess the weather, and then I start running down a mad narrative about what that weather might mean. When I see somebody in the street and without even knowing them, I put together this mad narrative of what kind of person they are, probably what this, probably what that, how do we fit in the ranks of what society tells us that we are. I've just really been trying to catch myself in a kind way, not like, oh God, I can't believe this, you're doing it again, you've messed up, not like that at all. Just being aware of it, being observant of it, because see, when you are, it naturally falls off, or it naturally gets less and less. It's probably not going to disappear overnight. Mine certainly hasn't, but it's less and less for me, and it's so easy for me to go, oh, I'm doing that thing again. Stop it. Just stop it. So one of my personal practices is not to give a million different meanings to everything I look at. Trying not to build a narrative around everything I look at. That things that can just be what they are. It's a beautiful sky. Yeah, I then don't have to link it to other skies I've saw that are more beautiful, and where I was when that happened, and who I was with, and what did we eat that night, and what it's just kind of I found that kind of thinking takes me to kind of a place of anxiety, a place of comparison, a place of judgment. So it's something that I've really tried to keep on top of. Now, another funny little thing happened to me the other day. I was on Instagram and I was scrolling away, and someone had put a video up that they took of somebody in the street. Now, this person was unusual looking. They were obese. They were wearing quite strange clothing. I don't know what the gender expression was, but there was a mix of masculine and feminine there. And this person had turned their camera on them and was tittering to themselves. And my first reaction was to go, and I caught myself and I thought, wow. The minute that person turned that phone on that other self, they dehumanized them. They said, you're a thing for my entertainment. And now I know that society has got norms, normal and ordinary. Normal and ordinary are the bricks that we built our own prison with, by the way. Okay, so I know we've got gender norms. I know we've got beauty ideals. This person looked like they were intoxicated on something as well. So we don't know what that story is there. But my first thing, because somebody had turned that camera on them and they were laughing along, was to titter along with them, and I caught myself in that, and I was like, wow, that's an old Paul thing. That's not the way I've been thinking, but it was still there. That still little pattern was there, just to laugh along, be part of the crowd. Because that's another thing that we're kind of really, really trained into, isn't it? We've got to be part of the crowd. If you're not part of the crowd, then the crowd might be turning on you next and tittering along with you. Like the Colosseum. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the Roman Colosseum, and we all get our little chance to walk across the sand, and hopefully we make it across without the crowd jeering at us and saying, no, you're not good enough. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as we see someone who breaks our ideas of normal or ordinary, wow, the crowd go crazy. So then I'm looking again at this video and I'm thinking, so this person, I don't know whether they were drunk, I don't know what, they were intoxicated on something. So they were vulnerable. They were vulnerable because they stuck out from the crowd, because of body type, because of the clothes that they were wearing on that body type. They stuck out from the crowd. So I thought, how is my first reaction to this not just, God, I hope they go home safe. I hope they go home safe. Because that is what I feel. That's my true feeling to it. But the little pattern, the little conditioned thought of me was to laugh along. So I was like, because something like that, amusement might be the first level there, okay? Someone might titter along, turn the camera on somebody, dehumanize them that way. But the next one might be what? Someone could take a real disliking, couldn't they? It could be outrage. Okay, so maybe amusement is just a little, maybe outrage is you're going to shout something at that person. You might throw something at that person. Okay, what's the next level up? Well, next level up would be hate, wouldn't it? Well, that person deserves for you to hit them. That the person deserves to be hurt for not sticking to your ideas of what you consider to be normal and ordinary. And I know that's a bit of a jump, but we know the society that we live in. And that little titter is the first step on that ladder to being amused, then maybe to being annoyed by it. God, what are they doing? Why do they look like that? That's a mess. That's a this. To being outraged. How dare they put this in front of me? I shouldn't have to look at this. To being hateful. And I was just like, wow. So I was grateful that I caught my reaction there, and I was like, that's not me. That's not how I behave. That's not how I behave. But still, I've got that little ego voice, the same as you have. That's like, oh, can't I even have a laugh now? Oh, what? Like I'm the fun police? No. I'm not the fun police, because I have never felt more joyful. I have never felt more peaceful than I have in this new way of being. Okay, because I realised giving and taking was simultaneous. When I stopped judging people, when I say stopped, I make a conscious effort not to, because I realised that everybody else was another expression of me. I couldn't hate anybody but to hate myself. So when I stopped judging, I realised my fear of judgment was diminished until one day I wasn't really thinking about who's looking at me and what are they thinking about me, because I wasn't doing that. Okay, again, I've said this before, the giving and taking is absolute simultaneous. So when I had that little ego voice, it's like, God, it's just a laugh, lighten up. Is it just a laugh out, or am I keeping myself down by doing that? Because the minute I laugh at that other person, I start thinking, who's laughing at me? Who's going to turn the camera on me? Am I okay? Whereas I wasn't thinking that before. Okay, so even if it's from purely selfish reasons, when you do any, I know it's not an attack as much, but when you send out that negativity, it hits you straight away. It hits you straight away because you become vulnerable to what you're doing. Whereas I've had, weeks, months of not behaving, anything like that, and I have felt invulnerable. I expect the world that I'm putting out. So when I'm putting out judgment, when I'm putting out negativity, I'm fully expecting to receive it. When I'm being kind, when I'm being loving, when I'm being peaceful, when I'm seeing all as part of me, I expect that other people are looking at me that way. And it's just so strange because it's not a conscious thing. That's just how you feel. As I give that, I receive that. So my another one of my practices are to watch my reactions, because that was definitely a reaction. It wasn't a response. It came out automatically, and it was part of that like tribe of monkeys. Oh, someone's saying that on this, they're laughing at it. I should laugh along too, because then I'll be part of the crowd. That's so funny, so sneaky that that could still be there when I've lived, a year now not being a person who's reacting like that, and I did. I did, like we all do. So part of my personal practice is kind of looking at my when I'm reacting, trying to catch it, and think. And you know what? When I do, again, it's not like I'm policing of myself. I'm not being strict with myself. I'm being kind with myself. I'm going, oh, I see what you're doing there. And I see why you used to do it. I see, like, when you were in school, to survive, you had to be kind of part of the in crowd, otherwise you were part of the out crowd, and then your life was then your life was a misery. I understand that, when you're out on the street, like strength in numbers, but it's kind of in our DNA, isn't it? We've kind of evolved like that. But just not stepping outside of that and not giving those negative reactions. Whereas you think that maybe it's going to be making you vulnerable. God, it strengthens you. It strengthens you, because I know that, because it strengthened me. And I am nothing special. I am nothing special. So I'm just sharing this because I know if it's had that effect with me, it will have that effect with you. So yeah, looking at my reactions, a big one. Looking at the way my mind wants to go haywire, attaching wild meanings and narratives to every single thing I look at, every single person I come across, every single place that I go to. It just ruins my peace. It ruins my peace, and I want to live a peaceful life. That's what I want. I'm not doing this for any wild, like, kind of psychological, kind of strict reason. I'm doing it because I choose happiness and I choose peace, and I know that that is the way to it, because I've experienced that for a year now. And I'm sharing this because, I've realized my true nature, and I have had a bit of a wild year with the integration of that, so I can speak. But even though I've still got those patterns there, I've still got those little like kind of etched in the conditionings that we've all got. And of course we've all got them because we've grown up in this really predatory society. We've grown up in a society where we didn't feel safe. We've grown up in a society where we didn't feel good enough. We've grown up in a society where to have is to take. We've grown up in a society where, you're on your guard, you have to be defensive. And when your mind changes, when your thoughts change, when your feelings towards other people and other places change, that changes. The world around you changes. I have lived in a different world this year, but I'm still stood here in the same physical place as you, because the world I perceive starts in my head. Okay, and given, taken, completely simultaneous. So I just wanted to share that today, and I wanted to try and give you that opportunity to think, catch yourself in these moments. And when I say catch yourself, don't do it like a jailer with yourself. Okay, this has to come from kindness. Remember, if we're sending love out, we have to love ourselves first of all. Okay, anything you do that you're unhappy with is a mistake. It's not a sin. It's not a catastrophe. It's not something you can't recover from. It's a mistake. It just needs a simple correction. And if you have to correct yourself 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, who cares? If that brings your mind closer to a peaceful state, if that brings you closer to living your life without a fear of judgment or a fear of attack. Okay, so have a little think about that and see how you could apply it to yourself. I love you. Bye.